Hi, I'm Carla with Carla Miller Design, and today I'm going to take you through my basic work process. I'm going to be doing an image for a tennis client. She wants an image of I'm going to be doing a woman serving a tennis ball, and so it's a pretty simple design, but I almost always work the same way, whether I'm doing something more complicated or something simple. And what I always do is I start with just pen and paper. And it's just the way I like to work. It feels more natural to me. And then what I do is I take a photo of it and I Bluetooth it over to my computer and I work on my digital tablet and finish it from there. So yeah, why don't you come on over and I'll show you how I do it. I know what I want. I love, if you've ever seen Serena Williams or Maria Sharapova, when they serve, they're so powerful and it's so graceful, even though they're brutal women in the sense of just strong and competitive. It's just still it's really beautiful to see them serve. And my favorite part is the hand that goes up in the air. I'm not fitting on this piece of paper, but I love the extension of the hand. The ball, of course, would be up here. I'll worry about that later. So in this sense, there's so much going on. There's arm that's coming up. Your back needs to arch. Make it look a little bit like a girl. Your back is arching. This arm is coming back, way back. And then you're gonna, she's got the racket back here. Again, I'm off the page here. I just have to do this just because I need to know what's happening. And I can open it up later and just check it. Oh, that's off. All right, so already that looks way too far technically to do a proper serve, at least from what I've seen. So, but I'm just going to keep going here. So here's her body arching back, and she's going to have one leg. I'm going to go to another page and show you the leg. So say that's her little skirt. That's a little too much. So she's pretty arched back. Have you ever seen Roger Federer play? He's very, really flexible. He just seems to practically do a back bend. So, okay, I'm out of space, so I'm just going to see. I want to check something. The legs. So say I'm up here. So here's her torso, right? Probably not. She'll have one leg partially bent, even be more bent. So say that's on the ground, right? I don't think that's right, but I'm going to check. Okay, this one will come down a little more, like she's going to lift off, because she's got to, when you serve, she's going to be lifting up. She's going to be bringing this around to hit the ball up here. So I just do these little studies as I'm, especially if I'm out of paper. Another thing I'm not super happy with is, I think this might come, let's see, I'm going to do a practice serve. Like I know what I'm doing. Wait, I think the arm would come way back. I think the arm would be like, God, maybe up here. Oh, let's see. Maybe not. Let's see what that looks like. Yeah, it looks weird. Well, I don't know. So say that's her arm if I cover that. Ooh, that's terrible. Okay, so let's stick with that. All right, so that's the basic sketch, right? Normally, what I do is add some touches, like a little ponytail. So that was super quick. I'm going to show you what I actually did finish for the sketch, and that is, where is it? Here. Not that that looks any cleaner, but it has the motion I really wanted. And I'm happier with the right arm serving, or the holding the racket. It's a little more accurate. I checked a bunch of images online of professionals, and that's more accurate than what I had over here. And also because I didn't fit the feet and the hands, I did little extra studies here just to make sure I was going to get it right when I do the final art. So here, what I like about it is I feel like I got the power. We've got, it's like energy in all different directions. There's
upward. She's got to get that arm way up to get the ball up. Arch back, but not too arched, so I think this is better than the other one. And the powerful legs. So she's way more bent here. So you really get a sense she's about to lift off. That's what I was really going for, is that moment right before they uncoil and hit the ball. And you know, if you've seen tennis, you know how fast they serve. So it's a big coil. You know, they coil up, they bend down and spring up. So anyway, we've got her gaze looking up. You see enough of her. I like that because, you know, you want to see that she's a girl and moderately attractive, and I got her body, but I didn't want to make her too feminine. I want her to look pretty athletic. And the tennis rackets are not perfect, but like I said, the most important part is the gesture, the pose, the motion, the feeling. And to me, I get feeling out of that, so I'm happy with that. So now I'm going to scan this in, and then we'll go and cut over to my Cintiq, and we'll do the final art, okay? Okay, so here we are in Photoshop. I scanned the image, and now it's in Photoshop, and here's where I'll do the final artwork. The first thing I do is, you'll see that it's really dark, and what I'll do is I'll do an adjustment layer. It's just so I can see the lines better. So I added a brightness contrast adjustment layer in Photoshop, so this way I can see the lines better. And it's important for me to see what's happening because I'm going to draw over this image in a new layer. I'm going to lower that opacity a little bit. And before I do actual finish art, I'm going to do a quick layer. So add another layer. I'm going to do a really quick layer with the brush stroke just to make sure it's working before I get into the details. So I'm just working really quickly here. I'm tracing what I've already done in the sketch, which is really where all the hard work happens, because that's where the idea is. So it's going really quick. I'm not going to worry about accuracy, especially as far as that racket goes. Sunglasses, hat, hair, arm. So because I was never able to do a fit that arm in my sketch pad, because the sketch pad is so small, I'm just going to wing it here, but I'm not really winging it. I mean, I practiced it over here, so I kind of know what I'm doing. All right, finish up that arm. Here we go with her torso. Down. Now I'm going to down her legs, and now once again I didn't finish that, but because I did the studies over here, I have a pretty good idea of what I want to do. I want them to be firmly on the ground. Put all that weight down there. Imagine that's the cord. Same with the other leg. And again, I did that study here, so it looks like her foot's a little bit up. And that's not working with that, so because technically, so I have to fix that, because this leg, her left leg, would be behind her right leg. In fact, I think her right leg is way too short, so I'm going to redo that. All right, so copy what I had, because I like that, and bring her calf down even more. And what did I do here? She's lifted up like that. All right, that might be better. Tennis shoe. I think it's going to be a little more. Okay, and then we got her left leg. Now I have to, following that, I study, and because this leg, the left leg, is a little behind the right leg, it actually has to be a little above. to give it the illusion that it's behind. So I'm taking this guideline. So say that's her right foot. This is going to have to appear. Then we'll check it. See how, let me zoom back and we'll take a look. So it gives the appearance of being farther back. Personally, I don't like it. It's too far back. So I'm gonna fix it. So if that's the foreleg, we need it to be a little behind it, but not, I didn't like it so much. So what did I do in that sketch? I like that. Oops, it doesn't look good. That looks weird too. What am I doing? Foot, okay. She's coming down, she's really planted on that foot. Eesh. All right, we'll leave that for now. Let me just get these other little things in here, her shirt. The ball, I'm not going to worry about that for now because it's going to make it a super tall document, so I don't want to, I might just leave the ball a mystery. All right, so let me finish this up, and then we're going to take a look at it before we do finish. She's, the feet are terrible. All right, that has to be done. It looked good here. Oh, I know why. There's more weight in her heel. See, I like how I did it there. Now I gotta. It's because she's not really. That's what it is. I had her up too far on her. That's better. That's much better. All right. Foot's a little small, but. All right. So I'm gonna take that away and see what it looks like. All right. Pretty good. Pull back, give you some perspective. And so I'm pretty happy with that. So now, her arms are big though, bigger than in the original, which is fine, but it's just, I really wanted to stick to that original. What I'm looking for, I'll just fix this, I'll tell you. I really like that original, so that's why I want to stick to the body shape of the original sketch. So I try to get these foundations just right. So what am I looking for here? Let me see if there's any major defects or anything that's going to bother me later, or something, anything that's just not right. You know, if it's just her balance is off. Her balance looks good. She actually looks like she can stand there and hold herself, and she looks steady. And I think she looks pretty accurate, pretty convincing as someone serving a tennis ball, as someone decent serving a tennis ball. So I think I'm happy with it. Except the racket. I don't think, my only issue is I feel like it's hidden a little bit behind her head, but I also don't mind it. So I'm just going to stick with it for now. All right, so now what I do is I do cleanup. And cleanup, a lot of times, you know, you can do the whole thing over again. But I don't like, I like to preserve as much of the original line work as possible. So I take that first layer and I lock it. That means I can't screw it up, and because I'm going to start some new art. So this is my finished art. But I do like what I did here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to clean up a little, fix what I think should be fixed. Like, for instance, I think that looks okay. This was not right. This has to come up like that. That's all right. The knee, put that together. This will technically come, I think so. Where's the tennis sneaker? Your sneaker comes out, and I think the tennis sneakers have a little bit of that flat sole. And comes, what happens? Sneaker. I wear them all the time. I don't think that's a sneaker. I'll check later on the sneaker. Right now I'm mostly concerned about the body. So I like this. I like her neck. I smooth that out. Finger. This is where things for me get a little tricky, and for most artists.
I'm happy. I'm actually pretty happy with, even though it's kind of vague. It's not. They're not perfectly defined, but that's fine because a lot of times when you perfectly define fingers, especially, it just looks too. It's like too anatomical. I don't know. I can't think of a better way to put it, but it's like if I were to do it like a real. It's just like 1, 2, oops, 1, 2, 3. It's just too much. This is too much. I just don't like it. So I'm just going to keep it simple. Keep the hand simple. I'll close up the lines, and this should come. This handle should come. I definitely want a hint of that handle coming in. Really make it look like she's gripping it. I'm definitely going to have to clean up this racket. Round things are harder to. Right, and then this hand, same thing. How detailed do I want to get? Well, I like the feeling. I like that you feel like it looks like she's tossing it up, which is what I was getting at. I'm just using my hand here. I'm just looking at my own left hand. I think her thumb would come out a little bit more like that, and then you'd have a little bit more of a. Okay, I'm just going to do 3 fingers. And then, oops, that's 2. I'm going to open it up a little bit, so I'm going to. Let's see, I'm going to check what that looks like. I'm going to take away the original. That's pretty good. All right, and then really the hand has more of a, I'm looking at my own hand. I should give that more weight like that. And then I should come out around. I'm looking at my hand as I'm doing this. Now, and this will come up. This has to come like that, more of a curve and cleaner. And the rest of this looks pretty. Let me see her elbow here. We don't really need to see her elbow. So the rest of it I was pretty happy with. So right now I'm just sort of connecting the lines, and then I'll do other cleanup. Like for instance, there's not much definition there. That hair needs to be cleaned up. She looks nice. I'll close up that hat. I like her face being sort of vague. I definitely don't want this character to look like anyone in particular. Let's get these tennis shoes to look more like tennis shoes. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, I'm going to lock that so that I don't mess that layer up. Go back to the one below it, unlock it, and then I take out. Right, this is what I do for insurance because I always lose art. I'm going to duplicate this so that I don't lose anything. I try to keep every layer possible. It creates a huge mess, but this way you don't lose any art. Alright, now I'm in that lower layer, which is more faded, and I'm going to start removing some of this art. Oops, I like those. Oh, I gotta do the. I forgot about the strings. Alright, I'm gonna have to redraw the strings anyway. In a time like this, you want to get close. You don't want to. I'm gonna use my eraser. I don't want to lose too much. Clean it up later. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm shedding the stuff I didn't want there. So shedding this, I'm going to shed that. That shouldn't be there. Back down here, we got this. I will take all this out. I'm going to take that out. Yeah, it looks better. Here, same thing. Take out all that stuff I don't need. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to I'm going to come back to this layer, which is the lighter layer. Well, the one I turned down the opacity. Oops. Bring up the opacity and check it. Make sure I'm happy with the 2 layers. So the layer 8 shows all the little touch-ups I did. Then what I'll do, pretty happy with it. happy enough that I'm willing to combine the two. So there you go. So now I'm going to call that, I'm pretty happy with it. I'm going to call that line art 1, in case I decide to do another one. So now what I'll do is lock it up, and I'm going to add some tones. I really like this part because it really gives shape to the form and really brings it alive. So I thicken up the brush point. I really have fun with it. Wait, am I in the right layer? I am. Okay, good. So I'm in a different layer, and I'm in a layer below the line art, so I'm safe. I first think about, it's so fun to just get in there and just be like, well, not like that, but anyway, to just add some weight to it. But you really have to think about shadows and what's happening with the environment. So presumably she's outside with sunlight, so I'm just going to assume, I'm just going to make believe that she's out in the noontime sun, and so that would, if that were the case, it'd be, well, not that one, not that, but there'd be shadows underneath her, of course. There'd be, so it'd be like underneath these areas, under her hair, definitely under her hat, on the side of her, get some of those lines in there. Oops. I don't mind being sloppy, because then I can just go in later. I take my lasso pen and I just clean up like that. So that's basically done. I think for the final, I'm going to, because this will be on a t-shirt, it really needs to stand out, so I'll probably get some blacks going. So I'll do, oops, I made it look way too flat. You know, I might, yeah, I like that, and I think that's going to help it really stand out on the shirt and whatever else it goes on. I don't know if I need that, but I'll keep it. I'm just going to keep it there, and I'm going to label that layer. It's blacks. And my thick blacks, and this is, are these grays? Yeah, grays. All right, so I'm going to save that. Oh, one last thing. Pull back, make sure everything looks good from a distance. Especially because this is going to be on a product that people will be seeing from a distance, almost like a billboard. It really needs to telegraph. So I'm happy with it. Obviously, I have some serious cleaning up to do with all that gray and some of the black lines. But anyway, that is my basic work process. Thanks so much, and see you next time.